So to finish up with our conversation on regions, we're going to talk about the last type of region that we find that has been discussed by geographers, and that is the perceptual region, also called the vernacular region. Um, just kind of looking at the terms there, both perceptual and vernacular, you kind of have, and you should have an idea, I would think, of what the region is. Basically, uh, the perceptual vernacular region is a region that is formulated in the opinions, really in the minds of individuals as they think about a particular place. And so, really, the region itself is created by a perception or a persona that exists by outsiders of the particular region. So, perceptual region is always the most difficult to nail down because it really can vary from person to person. And of all of the region is the least exact and is also the one that can change the most because our perceptions of a place are going to vary person to person, and then of course as we go from place to place. And so those are going to change a lot. And again, there's no one concrete definition for the region. That's why it's called that perceptual vernacular region. So geographers can look at that and begin to study and understand the perceptions that people have of a place and then why it is that they might have those perceptions and how those exist outside of that particular place. And again, it's based on opinion and it can change. In fact, of the three, it's the one that's most likely to change over time and over space. And so, probably one of everybody's favorite example is the region of in the United States, the South. And of course, it's interesting to talk about. It's interesting to talk to different people from around the country of what exactly exists or what states exactly are a part of the South in terms of the United States. And so you see there uh, on this particular map we have six different definitions of what it could mean to be a part of the South. And so you have this situation. Was it a part of the Confederate States? Of course, during the Civil War, you think that'd be a fairly easy definition, and then we move all the way to something like climate and weather. So whether it's precipitation or it's when the last frost is. You could look at something more cultural. Look at is it 50% Baptist or more? Speaking of the low levels of education, kind of what people have talked about with the South, even though those things tend to be improving now in the South, and you see that you get all these varying definitions. In fact, by some of them, you move as far north as Pennsylvania. And of course, I don't think people of Indiana, Illinois, Ohio would all consider themselves to be a part of the South either. In fact, neither would Texas really. Texas is Texas, and it's always Texas, and it's kind of by itself. It does its own thing. And so you have these six varying definitions, and these are very concrete definitions. Um, but you'll notice that none of them fit exactly what a lot of people would consider to be the South. And in fact, if you look at the areas that fit all six definitions of the South, you only have this dark green area, which in fact doesn't really even cover a whole lot of land area, and a lot of things that people would consider to be the South. So, really kind of an interesting thing to think of, and it really goes more towards the considerations of people outside of an area rather than people inside an area. So those are the three types of regions. We have the formal, we have the functional, we have the vernacular, the perceptual region. And again, they're all used by geographers to help them to study and understand the space and also the way that a space is impacted either by the people in it or by the people in the environment that exists outside of it. Next, we'll be moving on to in our next video, we'll be moving on to the next theme of geography, and that is place.